Good morning, TFR.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, this is Alan. I like Ironworx because it's where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
I love Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zach. It's like sitting in your front room having a cosy chat with your best friends.
Hi, it's Diva here, and I just want you to know that Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zach, it's definitely my favourite dose of reality. Come join the family and keep it flat.
Why sleep in when you could get your dose of iron in the morning? Listen to the Ironworx on TFR.
This is Enlightened Dawn. Roses are red, violets are blue. Iron Realm Media is the best on the planet. To this show, I will forever be true. You guys are truly the best, and I love you guys. I'm so thankful to have you in my life.
Do you like listening to Space Letters from Never a Straight Answer? Then tune in to The Ironworx with Zach, Walter, and Josh. Break clear of the fear on the Ironworx and become an Iron Scout.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Feels like we're all running out of bubblegum these days. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to the Ironworx right here on Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. My name is Josh Corey, and I am joined this morning by some very good friends and co-hosts, as you may have guessed. Let's start off with Mr. Lucas King, LC King. Lucas, how you doing this morning?
Yeah, doing good. How are you?
Oh,
How's everyone out there?
Good, I hope. I hope everyone is doing wonderfully. Let's see.
I've been flat out, just working around the house, trying to still prepping, buying seeds, all that sort of stuff. So it's been good, but I'm a bit tired tonight. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Something in the air, maybe.
Maybe.
Well, let's see how Mr. Zachary Zabala is feeling. You may know him as Good Times for All there on the YouTubes. How about you, Zach? How you feeling?
Hey, Josh. Hey, Lucas. Hey, everybody. Doing good. Kind of pulling out of my funk a little bit. I don't know. It's one of those weird things where things just start, turning around. I think I hit the low point in the valley there, and now I'm starting my way back up. So, yeah, I'm smiling more. Laughing, playing with the boys more. Got the a lot of it has to do with the garden. I got water from the river now to where all I gotta do is go plug a plug into a wall, and a sprinkler system kicks on, and I get to water my garden without using fluorinated water. So it's a beautiful thing. No more carrying buckets up the hill.
Man, you put that bad boy on a timer or a smart switch, you can control it from your phone. You don't even have to get up to plug it in. You could just turn your phone on. I know,
but it's there's some power running to these pumps. And I don't know if I just trust those. I've had those before. And I even went out and I bought a cheap one the first time, and that thing didn't work very well. So I went out and it was running my lights when I was keeping my plants alive over the winter time. And I even I went out and got a nice one, the digital blah, blah, blah. And I still had issues with that thing. And that was it wasn't too big. It was a nice small light. But this, I have big enough wire gauges to run these pumps and everything. But still, it's a lot of power, and if it ran for hours and hours and hours, it could get hot and catch on fire. So I don't want to. I want to control it manually, I'd hate to burn down Bob and Cammie's house. That'd be horrible.
You're such a whiner.
I know. But it's it's a step in the right direction. Now all we gotta do is get the turbines going down there and get off, some electricity from that water, and yeah, we'll be looking good, ready, prepared.
Now, they sell like propylene glycol for like vape juice and stuff in those great big, like 235 gallon cube caged containers. Have you considered getting one of those and pumping that full of water from the river just to have on hand?
That's a really good idea. Yeah, I'm going to mention that to Bob and Cammie, actually.
Because they make a lot of those with food grade plastics that you can store that water in. That way you just got it stored and ready to go. In fact, you could probably even water with that.
Yeah, somehow get it.
Gravity, you could gravity feed it.
The
probably.
hill, above it, yep.
And then gravity feed your sprinklers. Something. But it's still
we'll definitely look into that.
Not a bad idea just to have it on hand. Well, let's talk to Mr. Walter Johnson, the man of the hour, for whom we've not seen since last Friday morning, not even. It had been about a week ago, it feels like. Walter, how the hell are you, my good sir?
Well, good morning. I am great. It's good to be back. Has it been that long? I wasn't here Tuesday. I thought I was here Tuesday. Who knows anymore? I never know.
Friday.
Anyway, Friday. It is Tuesday. Man, my brain's gone. It's too early, obviously. Got used to sleeping in. That's all it takes. One day off. And you're ruined. But yeah, the energy weirdness definitely has been creeping across the plane. I've been digging through Twitterville, which I hadn't been on in quite a while. See Rob there quite a bit. I don't know if he's in chat yet, but definitely see our buddy Robert Page there quite often. And found some interesting new folks and just, trying to get the lay of the land, see what's going on out there. I also, interestingly enough, got suggested a little video this last, was that yesterday? Yeah, that was yesterday. I had sat down, just hardly ever popped straight into YouTube anymore. Just kind of popped on. There it was, third video over. Little recommendation in my recommended line. Kind of shocked to see this creator back on. Hadn't seen him in a minute, but apparently our buddy Norbs has put out. I'm not sure if he produced, directed, made it all, is re-upping it. Haven't reached out to find out where it came from yet. But it's a little movie put together. It's lengthy. I'm only about 2.5 hours in. Still got about 2.5 hours to go. So that ought to tell you 5 hours. But
I think that's a Hibbler Productions. I think.
Is it? Okay, I wasn't sure yet. Haven't even gone into, because it was on my phone. That's what I popped in on my phone. I rarely do that on my phone. I usually do that when I sit down in the living room. So haven't even gone into the description yet or any of that. Just got wrapped up. And it was perfect because I was actually going to the Cairo yesterday. And so I sat there in the office watching it there with my little headset in and really got into it. So yeah, history of the flat earth. If you haven't seen it or started it or finished it or any of those things, definitely go over there to Norb's World. I'll drop the channel link here in a minute. But yeah, something about the beginning of that video and those empty cities just really got to me. And Shell said I watched it with me too. She was there, and after we got excited about it, she started watching it with me. So yeah, she got the same weird feeling I got. Just like, what the hell? Like what the hell with these pictures? These up angles, looking down. It's almost like reconnaissance pictures. That's what it felt like. Reconnaissance of these big, huge, vastly empty mega cities. Anyway, I don't want to spoil anything. Go check it out. It's great so far. If the ending sucks, we'll find out together because I still have 2.5 hours to go. So anyway, but yeah, that was yesterday. And into the evening as we sat down for dinner, we kind of got back into it. So that it's gotten her that wrapped up is very awesome.
I did notice.
But she was, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, nothing, and it's gone.
Sorry.
No, Doc Michael actually was putting links for tanks in the chat, and I just happened to catch a glimpse of it, and that was enough to throw me off. Norb, I think. Norb has sort of come back on his channel. He had disappeared there for a while. I think he was in a pretty bad spot there for a hot minute. I think there were a lot of people in his life that he lost over the last year and a half. And I can imagine that's a pretty awkward position to be in when you're surrounding yourself with people telling you that it's all fake and there's nothing to be worried about. And you have friends and family that are now dead, at the very least being told because of this. And maybe it's not. Maybe this large number of people in his life all died for other reasons, but it's being blamed on this. And it doesn't negate the fact that he has suffered the loss regardless of why. So I know he was in a real bad spot there for a while. So I'm glad to see him trying to come up out of his funk. Maybe we can reach out and try to get Norbs back on here. It's been a hot minute.
On it, sir. Already on it.
Good
so
deal.
We'll see how that works out.
Yeah, things been quiet around here. Not a whole lot going on in my neck of the woods. Rain, which means Josh is in the basement with the shop vac cleaning up water. In fact, we're just here talking pumps. Water
Feels
pumps.
like an old mountain song.
Wish we had somebody with a banjo. Get TJ in the background picking away. Yeah, other than that, things have been pretty quiet. I think, well, I know I did last night. Once the timer kicked off, I went ahead and unplugged the girls' light. So I'll give them a couple days of darkness, make them think they're dying. Then I'll go ahead and cut them down and see what we get. I'll be real curious to see what that final weight's going to be.
I've never tried this, but I've always heard it. You get a copper nail and you drive it through the base of it. Don't know.
What's that supposed to do? I've heard that with tomatoes to stop
it
sort
tells
of diseases.
The plant that it's dying. So it sends up all the nutrients, and the roots work like overtime. And they shoot everything out of the roots, all the nutrients and good stuff down there, and shoot it up into the plant as like a last ditch effort to try to make the fruit as big and strong as possible before the plant dies. So all the fruit, gets bigger just for that last couple days. I'd look into it though. That's something I heard a long time ago, and I've never applied that myself.
Well, like Lucas, I've heard of running like copper wire, passing it a couple loops through your tomato plants, trying to keep disease and funguses away.
Yeah, that's it.
So I was watching a video, and it was a guy creating feminized seeds.
Put little dresses on them.
Even more interesting. He had 3 female plants, and he created like 300 feminized seeds with his 3 female plants. And it was just...
Now, wait a minute. The female plant produced 300 seeds?
He starts with 3 female plants. Yes. And at the end of the video, he's got about 300 feminized seeds.
How do you make a female plant produce seeds?
You turn that female plant into half male, half female. And it was the way that he did it that made me...
That just sounds like Frankenstein shit to me.
Doesn't it?
No, I'm just joking. Yeah, it kind of does. So they're all female seeds when they come off the thing?
Yeah, they're feminized seeds. So he takes a female plant and sprays it with colloidal silver. And it turns the other half of the male plant, or the other half of the plant male enough to pollinate the other female plants around it. And it creates this feminized seeds. It was absolutely
What?
Yeah. I couldn't
That's
believe
trippy.
it. Using just colloidal silver. And I haven't looked into it. I haven't verified it, but just the very idea of spraying it with just colloidal silver was enough to completely change the sex of the plant and start to pollinate the whole rest of the grow room. It was completely insane.
Well, I've been saying the moon's masculine.
Hermaphrodite. Thanks, Doc. That's the word I was trying to come up with. Hermaphrodite. And I knew the word in my brain that it was coming up with was not the right word.
So I'm looking, I was just trying to find a cartoon of a female seed for my picture later, and I found a site. I'll drop the link, greenpointseeds.com. And in this column, which is asking, do feminized seeds produce feminized seeds? There are a few different methods. Rhodilization with a D, rhodilization, apparently involves, it's the oldest technique for producing those feminized seeds. It's done naturally without human intervention. A method that relies on the fact that some phenotypes of female seeds, female plants may develop pollen sacs late in the flowering cycle. That may be what you had going on, Josh. Interesting. Or when exposed to environmental stresses. When these sacs pollinate, female seeds, feminized seeds develop. So this method also creates problems. These are prone to hermaphroditism, blah, blah, blah. There's the silver thiosulfate method, detail. There's the gibberellic acid method. I'm probably pronouncing that completely wrong. And we have the colloidal silver method, which is apparently now the most common method of creating those feminized seeds. Easy to come by, basically exactly what you just talked about. Spraying it 10 to 18 times with colloidal silver before the pollen sacs start to form. Oh, this is saying spray the plant. Yeah, right. I'm making sure that's what we're looking at here. I'm just trying to quickly scan through all this. But it does say to, interesting, it's important to point out plants sprayed with STS, GA3, or colloidal silver should not be smoked or consumed in any manner. Growers should only use these plants for seed production because the chemical solutions can be potentially hazardous to human health when flame apparently applied to them. Interesting. So I'll drop this link as well in the.
Wow. Sounds like they've done a lot of interesting research into this. I don't know. It just sounds kind of Frankensteinish to me.
I wonder if it works with other plants
or
just this type ones.
I'm not sure.
Some of the things plants can do already seem very Frankensteinish. That's what I was about to say. The first time I learned about how roses get, just all the things they do to roses to create different types and breeds and all that, cutting a slit in the edge and putting another plant in there and doing it together and letting it grow. And it's all the crazy shit. It's like, that's Frankenstein shit to me there. That's all natural. So then they
I've got roses.
This.
We have American beauties growing in the backyard. I didn't even know it was a rose
just
plant.
Hybrids, aren't they?
Yeah, I had no idea it was a rose plant until it opened up and bloomed. And I was like, Cammy, those are roses. I'm glad I didn't cut those things down. Yeah, they're blooming right now. They bloomed about 4 or 5 days ago. Petals are starting to drop now. Really pretty flower, though. I'm going to start taking better care of that plant. I didn't know what it was, so I wasn't really putting a whole lot of attention into it, trimming it and whatnot. Is there any medicinal purpose for a rose?
Well, lots. One of the best things out there
Perfume.
ever is rose balm. It's a little ointment you can buy in a little metal tin, and it's got rose oil. It's got a few different little natural things in it. But yeah, it's a great old school. My grandmother had it in her medicine cabinet, and I've kept it in mine. I'll look it up and send it to you. Hang on.
Good morning,
Soothes
Mike D.
women's hearts.
Yeah, and rose oil is one of those things because there's, evidently not a whole lot of oil in a rose. So it takes a whole lot of rose petals to make a little bit of rose oil. That's why rose oil is typically so expensive. So I can see it probably having some sort of medicinal purposes somehow, somewhere.
So have you guys seen the big Olympic controversy going on right now?
Nope.
Before we get too far, hold up. The phenols in the polyphenols in rose tea have been shown to reduce the risk of heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and cognitive diseases. One study also found that the anti-inflammatory activity in powdered rose petals is as effective as medicines like aspirin or ibuprofen. That's just the first
Cognitive
thing I
dissonance?
found.
One of those cognitive
One of the
diseases?
diseases it can fix, maybe. Next time somebody's tripping, just hand them a rose. Bro, chill. It's okay. It's okay.
Here, Earth is flat. Here's a rose.
Earth is flat. Have a rose.
Oh, I love it. So yeah, it's all about the female weightlifters right now, and they're talking about in the Olympics.
Yeah. This is
Did they get sprayed with silver or?
I think
some
they
of
got
them sprayed with something.
Yeah. Well, some guys got sprayed with silver, and now they want to be women weightlifters.
I'm right back to Johnny Knoxville. I'm telling you, this is just the ringer.
It's the same. Yeah. And it's insane that it's even allowed to take place. There is no, okay, the guy who identifies as a woman, whatever, do what you want. That's fine. But for 34 years, this person was a man. Wasn't taking, stuff to lower his testosterone for 34 years. Now, it would be different if he was 4 years old when he did this, because his body didn't have, 20 some odd years of all that testosterone building muscle mass and bone density and all these things that are so important to these professional weightlifters.
And as I recall, this isn't just above average sort of bone mass and muscle mass and compared to like another woman. This guy at 16 years old, while his body was still developing, was already a professional bodybuilder. Yeah. His muscles and his bones were already trained for that weight and that strength and that usage, and have spent its entire life being trained that way.
Well, yeah, all that testosterone for years, and like even right now with all the pills and whatever they're taking, the chemicals to lower their testosterone, it's still over 3 times that of the highest woman's testosterone levels. A male can only lower his to like, I think it's 9% intake of what an average male can do. Using hormones and pills and stuff, they can lower their testosterone to about 9% of the average. Well, a woman only has 3% at the highest levels. So still, after taking the pills, he still has 3 times as much testosterone going through his body than an average woman. So it's still, even if he did it his whole life, he still has 3 times the amount of muscle building and mass bone density grower pumping through his veins. I'm sorry, but this is not fair to women. It really isn't. People who are training their whole life. This isn't, just a little thing that these people train their whole lives to do this stuff. Every day of their life, they're training to be Olympic athletes, to be the best in the world at what they do. And Now they're just told, you might want to go to a different weight class or change your thing, or, just not even try it.
Yeah, but even if he wins, it's like, yeah, but you won a girls' competition, dude.
I don't get that either. I don't get that at all, Lucas. That whole thing. That's one of the things I deal with in a certain game I play. It gets enough ad time. It don't need some for me. But there's people in that game who use these menus that allow them just to beat everybody, and it's like, what are you accomplishing? I can have menus. I don't understand. I don't understand what you've done except be a dick. But that's just my opinion. I'm probably wrong.
Yeah, well, that's all it is, and this is just pushing some bullshit agenda of the New World Order, and that's all it is. And they're just a bunch of wankers at the end of the day.
And I think if they didn't push so hard with this kind of stuff, more people would be on board with, it's like flies and honey, and vinegar.
And horse
don't
shit.
Don't piss
I don't want
everybody
none.
off.
You keep your serving for me somewhere else. I'm good.
But yeah, you don't want to piss everybody off while you're trying to change society, or else it's not going to take. It's not going to stick.
Well, guess what's about to stick us?
Break
That's
music.
it. Sticking us. Ooey and gooey. Here it comes.
Well, this has been segment number 1 of 4 of the Ironworks right here on TFRlive.com, Truth Frequency Radio. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Maybe.
From the dawn of man, we have turned to nature to help attain balance within ourselves. But somewhere, we lost our way. Western culture is once again remembering the healing benefits of CBD, the non-psychoactive component of the hemp plant. That's why more and more people who use CBD report relief from inflammation and chronic pain, balanced blood sugar and cardiovascular system, relief from muscle tensions, tremors, migraines, headaches, anxiety, depression, and the list goes on. The big question is, where do you get it? Life is a 99% pure CBD oil made with all organic ingredients, and it's available to TFR listeners worldwide. If you use coupon code TFR at checkout, you'll get $5 towards your order. Head on over to ialife.com now. That's AYA-life.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
It's a great product. And the one thing I like about it the most is that when you open the bottles, you can smell like the scent of the fruits and veggies. It's no genius thing to it. It's really just fruits and veggies, which everyone needs. And you guys kind of put it in a way where you can take it easy and you can get it, and it's natural, and that's what I like about it. I like the product, and I've taken it, and it's definitely made me feel a lot better. I'm a healthy person to begin with, but it's definitely good prevention, and it's definitely gives me energy, and I feel like it's a natural thing. I like it. I really do.
For a limited time, use discount code TALK to receive a 50% discount on your first preferred whole health system and have it shipped to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Again, use discount code TALK.
Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death. This is Uncle Walt from the Ironworks. Josh, Corey, and I have chosen to look at life with no fear. No fear of the unknown. No fear of questions about the supposedly well-known. No fear of ridicule for thinking outside the familiar fool's lines. No fear of the boot on the neck of those refusing the party line. No fear of taking on those so convinced of their beliefs they would sooner drink the Kool-Aid than believe they've been fools made. In this world filled with me too, cattle think, can truth's protective layers be peeled back to show the tender, juicy pink? Are we all just grist for the mill? Souls sold against our will, or is that just how it feels? When you're filled to the rim with triviality so fear-filled and grim, break clear of the fear right here. Tuesdays and Fridays at 2 a.m. on TFR. Josh and I and you will hammer out the impurities of technology-driven groupthink, fold in a dash of logic, and quench it all with a bit of absurdity. The Ironworks. Break clear of the fear.
Come on, man.
No hate,
No hype, no fear. We are TFR. Frequency Radio.
Wakey, wakey.
That's part of waking up. This Folgers in your cup.
Wake up.
Wake up!
Well, that's not the button I thought it was, but welcome back to the Ironworx right here on Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. Josh, Walt, Zach, and Lucas hanging out with you. Back together again. We sure did miss Walter while he was on his leave of absence, his brief sabbatical. Glad to be back, Walter.
He
we sure
abandoned us.
Did Zach even tell you guys? I trusted him to tell y'all.
He said that you told us all, fuck off.
Fuck off. Exactly. That was the words. Exactly. I said, say it back. And he said, fuck off. I'm like, yep, that's what I want you to say to everybody.
Well, then he nailed it verbatim.
And I let him know before, well before the show started, before Josh even said anything about where's Walter. Or maybe I didn't. Maybe you did say, well, where's Walter?
Yeah, I think I may.
Yeah, I think he did make that. Threw that question out there. I was like, oh, yeah.
That dude, he abandoned us. And I was trying to find the soundbite for Dodger Ranch there in chat, but I missed it. Sorry. It's probably get us a copyright strike anyway. I've been trying to play catch up in chat. I was very negligent of chat over the last few weeks. I apologize. That's my apologies. VW Blue Sky. Good call on the Yngwie Malmsteen. However, it wasn't. That is a gentleman named Tony McAlpine, who, if you haven't checked out, dig deep, especially a couple of albums called Maximum Security. And the next one, what's it called? Anyway, the next album after Maximum Security, Tony McAlpine. He is phenomenal, as you heard. Sounds very neoclassical, but when you dig in, you'll find that he doesn't use the Baroque side of the neoclassical that Yngwie tends to stick in, that whole Paganini, Bach area. His is more modernized, if you will. Very bluesy in places. Well, I mean, Malmsteen is too. It's just different if you dig in. And he plays piano like a beast. In fact, he goes on tour with Steve Vai to play the keyboard and guitar parts along with Steve Vai. So, I mean, he's an amazing dude. I've seen him twice live with Vai. So, Tony McAlpine. I'll say it again in case you missed it. Put it in chat. It's awesome. See, I'm in chat. Look at me.
Did you see Ori Sheet twitching or twerking in the corner?
I didn't see him yet. I saw him earlier. I started my morning with some Hori Sheet on guitar this morning, actually. I hopped up, got up. I was up a little earlier than I should have been, probably. Had a little breakfast, and there was Hori. So I hopped in, watched him jam for a few minutes. So I didn't notice he was there yet. I'm trying to get back to chat as he silently sneaks in.
Hori's got to get out to Flattoberfest. You got to get out to the East Coast,
right?
man.
Definitely. And if you haven't gone over there and hung out with Hori in the morning, you just think you have a jolt of energy from our show. That's pure caffeine there, brother. Go get some. Hori Sheet.
That's like Jolt Cola right there.
Right? Mainlining it.
They made that stuff illegal back in the day. I had a baseball coach who used to drink 2 1-liter bottles of that stuff during the baseball game. And he'd start off, he'd be all nice and calm and this stuff, and then
Caffeine
by like
rage.
the 7th inning, dude, he was screaming his head off. Rawr! And we won like almost every game that season. We were like the Bad News Bears. We were the kids that we had. Most of the kids from our town, there was like 600 kids that played Little League in Hobart. Well, River Forest, it was a real small community right next to our town that didn't have enough to make their own Little League. So we, just kind of absorbed them into our Little League there. And nobody wanted to have these kids on their team. For some, I don't know why. So we got like all of them. There was like 5 kids in our age bracket, and we got all 5 of them on our team.
Dude, that's awesome. Y'all were the Bad News Bears.
We were the Bad News Bears, dude. We did the plays where you hide the ball, hold the ball, tell the guy, hey, it was a foul ball, you need to run back to first, and then tag him out, stuff like that. Yeah, we were.
For all you youngsters out there who've only seen the more recent version of that movie, go back and watch the old school one with Walter Matthau, and then the one that came after with the second one. Who was the guy? I can't remember his name. When they go to Japan, it was amazing. So, I mean, when they break training, not when they went to Japan. That was kind of lame. But when they were breaking training, God, we're old, Zach.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Duck, dive, dodge.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
Oh, I love that movie. I need to watch that movie. We used to play bombardment at the YMCA summer camp program. That was probably the funnest time I ever had playing any type of sport ever. We had like 80 children playing dodgeball. It was so cool having that many people in a dodgeball game. And I was like always one of the last people in. So there's a line of like 30 some odd kids sitting on each side watching you. And it'd come down to, I was like 12, 13 when I started getting good. And it would be me versus like a couple counselors. And I was good at, I would jump and just flatten. I'd like plank in the middle of the air. When they would go to throw the ball, I'd jump. And if they weren't aimed perfectly, they couldn't hit me because I would line my whole body up and just flatten it out with the person throwing the ball. Man, it was so much fun.
So you were the Tanner?
Yeah.
I was going to ask, were you the Tanner or the Kelly? I see who you were. You were that little dude everybody wanted to destroy.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, we're flashing back. Anyway, go watch it. It's good stuff.
So not a whole lot going on in the whole space world. We're like less than a week away from Branson
Aren't we about to
going into space, right? For the first.
Right, he's going to beat Bezos. Now, has Bezos, has he decided to eat the Mona Lisa yet or not? I still haven't heard that one. And then there's also a petition that says he shouldn't come back when he goes.
Yeah,
So
I saw that. How many people had
petitions? Right, I haven't checked.
I was like, 33,000 people.
Right. Of course.
Said you can go to space, but don't come back.
Oh,
I mean, that's pretty good numbers. I mean, like, how many people knew about it? Probably not that many people knew about it, but those who did would happily sign it. I mean, I would have signed it.
Wow, so 33,000 people signed it? For real? That's like not a joke? There was a petition out there telling them to stay in space?
I don't know.
Hilarious.
That's what the article was.
Wow.
Imagine being like that hated, you know.
130,000 at 17 hours ago have currently signed the.
Cool. It's gone up.
Interesting numbers. 7 days ago, it was 77,000 that had signed it. Yeah, this is all about some signing to the other people in the number knowledge. Oh, my goodness. So, yeah.
33, 77.
Let me find the link to the petition just for you guys to, make yourselves heard. We wouldn't want our names to be excluded from such a list. Where is it? There's so many links in this article. I'll never find it. I'll find it and give it to you in a minute.
Oh, well, we should have a petition along with that one to send Elon with him.
Absolutely. I'm sorry. I'm digging through these. There's so many hyperlinks. It is like every other word. It's ridiculous. Oh, my goodness. Nope, it's not in here, apparently. All these are just taking me. Oh, wait, here we go.
So
I found it.
I'm looking at a picture, right? And
Now I'm looking. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the actual site, and currently it tells me that we have 137,000 signatures. So that ought to tell you right there the truth in the first thing you look up when you look up something, because the 177,000 number isn't true as of the actual site that actually has the actual petition. Lying fuckers. Sorry, it aggravates me. Here you go. The link is now in chat. Get him out of here.
Okay.
And then I start reading chat. I'm sorry, that was totally my bad. Of course.
So I'm looking at a picture, right?
Right.
And it says it's the Perseverance rover taking a selfie. But I can see the whole Perseverance rover. There's no arm sticking out of it that's like going underneath, beyond the edge of the picture. The helicopter's in the background, so the helicopter's not taking the picture. Who took this picture? They say it did it with an arm sticking off the rover, taking a selfie of itself. I'm seeing the whole rover. There's no arm sticking off of it.
You know how in movies they do that long crane shot and the girl runs down the hall into the mirror and you realize that you were looking into the mirror and where did they get? I'm being stupid.
Yeah, this makes no sense. That could not take its picture. There is no arm sticking out, beyond the edge of the picture to
Maybe
then
it's
the camera and snap it.
in the ground,
Well,
underneath in the
above.
ground.
It's from
and it comes
above.
up.
It's looking down at it.
You know how you get that thing that you put your phone into? It's like a little cradle you put your phone into and you chuck it in the air and these little wings pop out and it's like a little drone that hovers over you. And again, I'll stop.
Well, it's just like the one where they said the thing landed. The pictures of the helicopter, and then they say it landed, but yet the shadow of the helicopter isn't touching the ground. It's like not touching a leg of the helicopter.
Well, the atmosphere is different there.
Yeah, but still, if something's touching the ground, the shadow needs to touch all the way down to the bottom of that object. You know what I'm saying? Like you stick your hand on the ground, you can't see a gap in between your hand and that shadow. You lift it up a little bit, yeah, there's a gap between the ground or the shadow and your hand. But you stick your hand on the ground, the shadow touches your hand. Well, this shadow was nowhere near touching the leg of the rover. It was like a few feet away. And they said it was on the ground. It's like, no, it's not on the ground. The shadow is telling you it's not touching the ground.
So you reckon they just made a mistake or they're having a laugh?
I think they got to be having a laugh.
Got to be.
Nobody could be this bad at this stuff, at faking stuff and lying. I think they have to make it so ridiculous and obvious so they can say, well, we made it pretty obvious that this is nonsense. You should have known. I don't know. I don't know why they do it. If they're that bad at it,
I'm trying to find my mute button as hard as I can. It's that whole double, triple edge thing to me. It's both that duper's delight that they know they've got most everyone so freaking fooled. They'll look at that and not see it. The other part is to rub it in our faces, the ones who do see it and can't really do much about it except bitch about it and kind of like, that's what we do. But there's that part of their bullshit. I mean, I've been reading in that book and I'm kind of into that part now where it's talking about some of their crap, and that's part of it. They have to have shown it to everyone. It's part of the karmic balance crap. It's part of their lesser magic crap. It's tied to all of that stuff. It's, as you say, no one with the amount of money and access to the equipment that you have on your fucking computer right now, you can make better videos than they do. We've seen people do it on their music videos and everything else. But no, they fuck up, and there's a frame off and there's invisible harnesses, and it's so ridiculous at this point that it has to be part of that whole handful of crap I just said. It has to be. It can't be that they're that bad at it. It can't be. And I can't believe that there's the white hat in there letting all this get through, because that fucker would have been killed a long time ago. So it's got to be that thing where they're showing the ones who need to see what they need to see enough to taunt us as they do. The rest, they're pulling the wool over their eyes and have shown their hand so they can get away with it, because that's part of the ritual.
Yeah, that white hat thing, that just makes me laugh now. You know what I mean? It's just like every time you hear something about white hats and like, yeah, okay, mate.
I heard that story a decade ago. You're going to need to change that tune.
Yeah. Still waiting.
And first time I heard that, it was probably 2010, maybe somewhere around there, 2011, when I first started getting onto YouTube, and I thought, oh, right, there's a group of people out there doing this. And then, just wait, folks, we're going to get all the pedophiles and round them up and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And a couple years go by and I see the same exact thing. Just wait, folks, we're here. It's like, well, I heard that before, I'm pretty sure. And then, you hear it a couple years again later, and it's like, yeah, I'm not buying any of this bullshit. This is ridiculous. But there's people that don't remember hearing it last time, it seems. I think that's how they do it.
That's how politics works. If people had a 4-year attention span, no politician would last 8 years.
Yeah.
So true.
Well, it's not even quite a 4 year, is it? Like, you think about Donald Trump. He said, we're in the biggest bubble ever and all this rest of this stuff as a candidate. And then wasn't even 4 years later, he's like, no, economy's unreal. Well, what are you worried about, folks? It's all good. So, anyway.
Yeah, it's like they say stuff, they know it's wrong, and people know it's wrong, but nobody wants to call them out on it, even in their subconscious. It's like they can't have a private thought almost. Like they're influenced always by whatever they're told, their outside surroundings. And it doesn't matter what happened, a month ago. They can only see what's happening in front of them right now.
I think that goes back to the other side of that coin that we were talking about just a minute ago, in that no one can have this done to them against their will. No one has pulled no one has had the wool pulled over their eyes. It's done by themselves. You cannot look at the things around you and not have agreed in some form to not see it at some stage. It has to be part of why you're here, your path, your whatever. So you've come here 100 times, you've got it figured out. You want to come back and be an idiot and work your way back up again. Maybe that's it. Or it is that whole thing of I've got a, you know, where I came here from is so chaotic and so hectic. I'm good with a weekend beer and chill on the TV and have a barbecue and not think about anything. Just hum along. You know, I don't know. It could be both of those things, but I think part of it is that consent. You cannot be fucked over without your own agreement to that happening. We used to talk about that back in the day, or at least some of us did back in the day when I was in the whole UFO circles and trying to figure out the abductions and why all that shit was going on. You know, there was a whole crew of folks, Whitley being the juggernaut, Whitley Strieber being the leader of them all, that this is such a good thing and it's, you know, teaching us and da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, but it's being done against your will. They're basically raping and you're being psychologically scarred from this. You know, people can get good things out of anything if their will and intent is strong enough. But if an enlightened person doesn't do this to another being, it has to be some type of agreement. You've agreed to let this happen. This was something we talked about. They didn't want to hear that, but it just didn't make sense that these people could do this to you against your will without some kind of consent involved. And it's all tied into all these machines, and we know all the little agreements we click to and don't read, and we sit around and just let it happen. Not we, but the general we. Sorry, the coffee must be kicking in. I'll shut up now.
Ramble away, sir. Ramble away.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, and I've seen it take place like in minutes even. People just turn it off. I remember I was arguing with my stepfather about Bill Gates. And I had told him, you know, Bill Gates said he wants to lower the population of the earth using vaccinations and healthcare. And my stepfather, he didn't say that. So I went and showed him on YouTube. That was doctored. He didn't say that. I went to TED Talks online, their website, and showed him in there. And he still didn't believe it. I showed it to him with like 2 minutes later, he's arguing with me again. But it wasn't, he didn't say it, it's he didn't mean it that way.
Hashtag safe mode society.
Yeah. It's like, how do you think he meant it then? He wants to lower the population using vaccinations and healthcare. How does vaccinations and healthcare help people die faster? It does.
Well, it does now.
Yeah, if they wanted to, it can. But in most people's eyes, vaccinations and healthcare are supposed to help us live longer, healthier lives.
Yeah, I know. I'm just being an ass.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so is my stepfather, you know? It's like, dude, just open your... I don't care how much money the guy has, how much you admire him for all the money he's been able to accumulate. He told you flat out he is going to kill as many people as possible. And it's like they refuse to see it. Not that they can't see it, but like you said, Josh, safe mode, engaged. That's why, you know, you can push and you can drive a wedge between you and another person, trying to get them to, you know, grasp this concept you're trying to share with them. But in reality, it's up to them. It doesn't matter what you say, how you say it, what you show them. They have to choose to see it. And if they choose not to, there's nothing you can do to make them see it.
They've chosen it. That's exactly what I'm saying. They've chosen to not see it. There's no way that it's not part of their agreement. It just, I don't know. I'm going to start raging again. I've been called out in chat, so I better stop.
Yeah, it's weird. And if I was an evil person, I would take advantage of this daily.
Well, of course they do.
I mean, I could be a billionaire taking advantage of people and manipulating them and
Yeah,
all that
well,
kind of
you know, these elite are a little bit like that weightlifter trying to get in on the on the women's thing. It's like, you know, come on, just bend the rules a little bit. Let me in.
Yeah. They can't have a fair playing field, you know.
No. They want to be let in and, you know.
Win. Yeah.
Oh, they wouldn't win. They were in the real world. So they're in the little high rises or wherever they are, trying to dictate to the rest of the world. You know, come out on their stage behind their podium and say, you know, oh, you should wear your masks and stay inside and all the rest of that. And then they just fuck off out the back and jump on their yacht and have a good time. And that's all they do. But they're not in the real world, that's for sure.
Well, we are really...
In the real world, yep, it's catching up to us quick. That's where I was about to go to, Zach. Unfortunately, the bills must be paid. The internet must be kept on. The lights have to burn. There's no free energy. The arches in the world. Oh, I almost spoiled it. Shh. Let's not spoil anything. Anyway, free energy. You shouldn't be paying for electricity. Fuck their bills.
Hell no.
Just get some magnets. Fucking magnets. How do they work?
GEET engine. You can make it yourself.
Oh, GEET.
You heard it. GEET.
Anyway, that is the first hour of the Ironworx. Right here on Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. Josh, Walt, Zach, and Lucas hanging out with you this morning. We'll be right back after this.
Hi.
GEET.
My name is Ella, and I'm 10 years old. I'm one of the millions of children born to parents suffering from the sheeple virus. Symptoms include the inability to think for oneself, the attention span of a goldfish, and a strong belief in government and the mainstream media. It is estimated that 1 out of every 2 children are being raised by parents infected with the sheeple virus. But there is a cure. For as little as 19 cents per day, you can become a TFR supporter and help children like me get their daily dose of truth. Together, we will make sure every child has protection from deception.
A military base on lockdown. Lisa Brady, Fox News. Officials at Joint Base San Antonio in Texas have been investigating reports that 2 suspected shooters fired shots from off base, then fled on foot. There are no injuries reported. They're working with San Antonio police to clear the area and search for the shooters. President Biden just landing in England to begin his first foreign trip as president, 3 countries in 8 days and 3 summits with the G7, NATO, and Russia's president, telling reporters before he left this morning it's about strengthening alliances.
This is a high-stakes trip to Europe in which President Biden will be watched closely and assessed on how he manages to unite the G7 and NATO partners and rebuilds alliances that have frayed in recent years.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon. Meantime, the president reportedly plans to announce a plan to buy 500 million more doses of COVID vaccine to share with the world. It wasn't about the photo op. That's the conclusion in a new government report that says President Trump's picture at a historic D.C. church was not the reason protesters were forcibly cleared from a park near the White House.
The Interior Department's Inspector General says U.S. Park Police removed crowds protesting the death of George Floyd so that a contractor could get started installing new fencing. About 30 minutes after police used pepper pellets and flashbangs. Then President Trump walked across Lafayette Park to deliver a short speech in front of St. John's Church while holding a Bible. The watchdog report found the clearing of the park was justified, but that law enforcement agencies failed to communicate adequately with each other and did not give sufficient warnings to protesters.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland at the White House. A Trump-era rule that narrowed the types of waterways qualifying for federal protection is now formally under review. The Biden administration filing legal action. The former president said the rules imposed unnecessary burdens on business. America is listening to Fox News.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
The wicked ones obviously under heavy Masonic influence.
Agreed, Liz.
Good morning. Here. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up!
What is dark matter?
Okay, we don't know.
That's great. That's why it's called dark.
It's exactly.
Wake up! Everyone knows all reputable information comes from random people on the internet. Tell me things, internet. The earth is flat. It's like school in your hand.
Okay, dark matter is something we do not know what it is. We believe the dark matter is there, but we have never detected it. Well, what I'm afraid of course, is that there is no dark matter out there. There was one? There is no dark matter out there. We need to think really hard, to think really hard, to think really hard, to think really hard.
Well, pitter patter, let's get at her.
All right, ramblers, let's get rambling.
And welcome back to hour number 2. That was weird. My volume was low, so that when I unmuted it, I was like there, but not really. Josh, Walt, Zach, and Lucas hanging out with you this morning. Hour number 1, that was a good time. Seemed to go by pretty fast.
It did. Now, what are we getting into? Free energy?
Oh, yeah. We can, absolutely, sir. I was looking up that GEET engine, and whoo, that's some heavy-duty stuff. I've heard you mention it. I know we've talked about it a bit, but I've never actually pulled up assorted plans for it. And yeah, please go over this if you don't mind. I know it's kind of hard to do without diagrams, but just kind of explain it to people if you don't mind. They may not be aware of exactly what's going on. I didn't realize it involved plasma, vapor, and all that stuff. For some reason, I was completely a whole different page with that.
So basically what it is a normal engine, normal petrol engine needs a spark plug. And the intake of the fuel, well, that sort of pipe, there is the exhaust of the engine goes around that intake pipe. And then within that intake pipe, there is a iron rod that is north-south, so it can be magnetized. And then there's a bubbler system that's attached to it. So what happens is as the piston of the engine comes down, it creates a vacuum through the hole of that intake to the bubbler, and that basically bubbles up, turns it into from a liquid into a gas, and then that gas goes through the intake and around that metal iron rod that is spinning, and that's basically adding a magnetic field, and the exhaust fumes from the engine that are going around the outside of the intake are heating up that fuel as it's going in.
Right. I'm looking at the diagram. I'm going to share it with you guys in chat. Hang on.
So basically, got three things. You're lowering the pressure, you're increasing the heat, and you're adding a magnetic field. And those three things working together change that gas into a plasma. And so then you're really sort of breaking it apart even more and creating energy out of that. So what these engines are basically able to do is run on multiple different fuels, because you affect a refinery, and because it's putting it in that state, every piece of that refined fuel is getting burnt, so it's super efficient at the same time. So these engines will either run on, say, coffee, Gatorade, Coke, and I built a small one in my shed, and I could put anything in there basically, a bit of old engine oil, as long as it was thinned out enough. But yeah, the first time I started it up, I started it on the engine on a fuel, and then I added water to it, and it actually ran even better when it had the water in there. So that's just one technology that's been around for, I don't know, decades now, I suppose. That's
what it looks like I'm seeing, yeah.
And it can run on tea, it can run on urine, it can run anything you throw in there.
Mm-hmm.
They've had people running them on everything. There's all kinds of YouTube videos out there. Actually, Lucas and I had a discussion on this and did about an hour-long conversation on it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we done a video on it, little live stream, talking about these sort of, we enjoy these subjects because they, I think they're very helpful to at least know that they're available, and for people that may be even more interested, you can say, yeah, I know about the GEET engine, or I know about some of what the HHO and all those sort of things. So it's provable that all these technologies are there at our fingertips, and I don't know why they haven't been honestly taken up by the common man, in a sense. I know it's a little bit of work to understand it, but I think when push comes to shove and there aren't much options left, I think these technologies will resurface and be help us,
And it's hard to understand it when you use technical terms, but when you're actually just playing with it, it's really simple. It's backyard tinkerers build these all the time now. They'll take an old lawnmower and just stuff that they go down to, the hardware store downtown. You don't have to go to some big place, some scientific endeavor type company. You can go to the hardware store and get all the stuff you need to try this out for yourself. Do you remember about how much it cost for all the stuff, Lucas? It wasn't too expensive, right?
No, just a few bits of pipe. Because all you're doing is redirecting where the fuel's going in, and basically the bubbler was one of the bits I had to get manufactured. But if you knew how to weld or something like that, be easy as. But I just took it to somewhere and said, this is what I draw a picture. This is what I want. This is how big it is. I'll come and pick it up and whatever. I don't know. Maybe it costs $40 or $60. It wasn't very much. But I've been thinking about it a lot lately, actually, to have it where you would basically have a standalone generator, because they're better as a standalone generator than sort of a bit too finicky with running the vacuums.
Something like that.
Yeah. That's where a little bit more sort of
tuning. Really, it costs more.
But the best thing I can see it being used for is like a standalone generator, and it's work a little bit like those diesel trains where you have the diesel engine in the train is just running the alternators to actually get the train moving. So the power supply, they're actually electric, but the generator is running them. So that's what I would think for your house or something. You just have basically get an old car and then modify it to a GEET and run it super efficient, and then just hook up an alternator to that car engine. And, a car engine is probably, they're so much better than, your normal generator engines anyway. But if you can get them to idle at the proper speed and that's in alignment with your alternator, then I think that'd be really powerful sort of unit.
Indeed, indeed.
Look, you just blew us all away.
Yeah, sorry.
No,
Yeah, but
man, my
that's
brain's kind of breaking. Plus, I'm reading in chat the different people are talking about things about building these things. I mean, Caleb, shout out, Special K.
the other thing,
doable.
like,
I mean, looking at the diagram, it looked intimidating for sure, and I think that's part of it too. They they convince us you have to have it's not rocket surgery, is it? So, yeah.
So wait, now an alternator, if you're spinning it, if you spin it faster, does it always produce more the faster it goes, or is there like a sweet spot? Like once you get it spinning this fast, you start spinning it faster than this, and you start actually losing energy. I've never really looked deep into
I'm not
the
sure.
alternator.
I don't know.
I would almost
it
think
would seem like there would
do
have to be a balance point.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
would use
saying?
frequency. You would use a frequency,
Right. You would
get
want
it
to
going
find
at
the
a certain
right
frequency, and
thing
then gather it
what you
at
want
that
to
same
do.
frequency.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah, because I think there's like a magnetic flux that happens, once it goes past.
Flux capacitor. Holy shit.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's what's really efficient for engines is to have them idling at their peak performance. There's like a sort of like a peak power to fuel ratio, and you'll see that on some cars. They'll have like a little like a green marker on their rev limiter or their
Mine
on their
says
tacho.
On the tack.
55.
Yeah.
I get my best gas mileage at 55 miles an hour. That's from my
Well, if it's your taco, it's somewhere in the range, depending if they're a diesel or a petrol, but it's somewhere in the range of 2,500 revs. So probably a bit high for petrols, but diesels have better power at lower RPMs. And that's why they use them for like four-wheel drives and things like that. They got a lot more torque in the engines. But
60, my RPMs are about between 15 and 1,700 RPMs at 60 on my truck. But it tells me at 55 mine's not on my tack, it's on my speedometer. So on the 55 mile mark, it's got that red slash there instead of a white one. Just telling me that, yep, this is where you get your most fuel efficiency at. But I found it's actually 5 miles faster, about 60 miles an hour, and I get better gas mileage. I don't know if that's the way my truck settled in. Because, I mean, they can say things like that, but every truck is different. Every Ford F-150 built in the same year, the engines they're a little bit different. And
yeah, definitely.
And then you spread that out over 10, 15, 20, geez, what are we on now? 24 years now, my baby girl is 24 years young. Yeah, that engine is totally different than the first time it ever cranked over. It's worn in.
Yeah, they
different
wear in. Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's why they tell you don't, when you have a brand new vehicle with a brand new motor, you don't take it out and go hot rodding it. You break it in. You put at least 2,000 miles on it before you really push that thing to its limit. Because all those little metal things that aren't, they're real close to being as close to perfect as they can get them, but they're nowhere near perfect. So all that metal and all those things that are somewhat kind of grinding on each other a little bit, they need to make that groove in there a little bit. Give them a little bit more room. I had a buddy, he had a brand new 350 engine dropped into a 66 Chevelle, or a 68 Chevelle. And at like 700 miles, he blew up the engine because he was stomping on it at every, green light. He, smoked the tires a little bit, or he was doing burnouts for people and this and that. And all the gearhead guys kept telling him, dude, quit doing that to your motor. Bucky was his name, Bucky Schneider. He's like, Bucky, stop. All you got to do is drive it. Just keep driving it. Give it a month and a half. And then you can do that stuff. Nope. I think he had it for like 2-3 weeks, something like that. And he blew that motor up. Yeah, when you get something new like that, I mean, it's precision. Don't get me wrong. But you have to give it a little bit of time to wear it in a little bit. Yeah, motors there, it's amazing the things that we have created. When you start learning about engines and stuff and all thought and idea that's gone into it, man, we human beings are amazing at what we've done.
And they're definitely fascinating. I'm not like a big gearhead or anything. I'm more into like the free energy and stuff. But when you actually start looking at these engines, like, wow, they're a work of art, definitely, and just how they translate all that power out. And I think they're amazing.
A video I saw early on doing research into the flat world, trying to figure it out. There was this video going around. We probably talked about it in our group back in the day of police officers filling up their engines with water, literally, like using water for gasoline. I remember seeing the video, and it seemed like it was like a news story that we were being shown, a local news story. No one else remembers that.
Maybe
I remember seeing.
Probably not there anymore, but I do remember the story definitely that they were using water in this local little area for the police cars. Let's see if I can find it.
Sorry. Well, I got to thinking about magnets a little bit, and the two magnets you got going on there, Zach. The way you took the same poles and forced them together. I got to thinking about sort of what's going on in between those magnets. There is some way that you could sort of contain that and maybe sort of compress all of that and store it up, all of that magnetic flux. If you had electromagnets and you could just get really magnetized, but somehow could shield it and store it in a capacitor of some way. If you could then release all that flux in one go, bang, what would happen? I just got thinking about Back to the Future and how much stuff is actually in there, and got me thinking about that flux capacitor and capacitating actual flux and how that might work, how that might, I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder how you would store. I don't know. I like that, Josh. Okay, I gotta stop. I was going into a deep thought there for a second. I found myself I closed my eyes and everything. I was like, wait, we're on the radio. Can't.
Well, the thing I like about, the GEET engine is you can basically make it yourself. Like you can modify an older car engine by yourself. And, you basically have the perfect power plants. I mean, cars really are a perfect power plant for power generation. And then it's just a matter of attaching an alternator to it. So if you can get the efficiency up on a car engine, there you have your, a high precision, basically, generator. And then if you have a battery bank with that, and if you get it down low enough where you don't actually need that much, you're not using very much fuel, or it doesn't cost anything, well, you don't even need a battery bank as such. It just goes direct into the house or whatever that you're using. But even if you were going to store it in a battery bank, a generator of that size would charge it up, a couple of hours, if that.
I remember hearing a story about a gentleman who bought a Lincoln Continental from a government auction. This was back, I believe, in the 70s. And he had noticed that the gas tank never went down. I think he had it for like 3 or 4 weeks, something like that. And he was driving it, and the gas tank never, the little gauge never moved. And he went, and looked at it, and there was still fuel in it. It wasn't like the gas was going anywhere and the gauge was just broken, but he was just driving this car. And it was either 700 or 800 miles he had put on it, and it still wasn't even 3/4 of a tank yet. And then some guys in suits came to his door, and he didn't say anything to anybody. I think it might have been a clerical error, but he said these guys in suits came to his door, said, "We made a mistake with your vehicle. We're going to have to remove some parts from it that were left on there by accident." And when they did this, he still owned the car and everything, but the car got regular gas mileage now.
That's funny.
Crazy.
Not for him though.
Yeah, so who knows what kind of...
Can you find that story so I can link it up here and put some stuff in the...
I will try.
You don't have to do it while we're live, but like during the next break, which is creeping up on us.
Well, that's what that George Wiseman was doing.
I'll see you there, brother.
What up, Dave?
Hey, Dave. That's what that George Wiseman was doing with his HHO generators as well as doing the... all he was doing was putting a small vacuum on the carburetor, and that was wasn't letting as much fuel in, and it was turning that fuel to into a vapor before it went into the cylinders. And usually the cars these days, they'll burn the vapor, but there'll be also extra fuel going in there, and that just goes through the actual engine and gets burnt at the catalytic converter. So most of your fuel is just
wasted,
actually being burnt in the exhaust that doesn't do anything.
They do everything they can for you to waste as much of that precious resource as they can. When you're pumping your gas, don't pump it at full squeeze of the pump. Pump it as the lowest set if it's still got the thing to lock it in place. Most don't anymore. But yeah, because there's a thing that turns into vapor literally as it's pumping in there. The greater force of the pumping, the vapor's created more, and there's a little thing there that re-sucks that vapor back up. So they're just stealing the gas from you right there out of your fucking tank. Always pump at the lowest pump pressure. Speaking of pumping water,
I did not know that.
I did not know that either.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And do your best not to ever go to the gas station when you see the truck there filling up the tanks, because you'll definitely wind up with trash in your fucking carburetor or in your fuel filter or somewhere in there. So, yeah. Some things I've learned over the years. The inventor of the water-powered car apparently died screaming, "They poisoned me," back in 1998. Stanley Meyer is the guy who I was trying to remember. And he ran out of a restaurant screaming, "They poisoned me," and dropped dead. So just throwing that out there. I'll send the story to you guys. You can dig a little deeper. I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I remember there was a news thing on that guy. And he had like a little hot rod type thing. Rat rod.
Yeah, that's the picture they've got. Him putting he's already standing in front of it doing this documentary that he had done. I flipped through the little tiny documentary they have at the bottom of that link, but I did not see the police cars. So I'm sure it was tied into that. Maybe the longer version of it out there somewhere. But it was, again, something I looked into early on when we were first probably all starting to hang out and get together. I think I was looking at the the GANs thing. Adam, shout out Adam Meekin, miss you, brother. He was doing some stuff there in his garage with the GANs, the idea of coating these coiled wires with this stuff that would make them become basically for energy themselves devices. And then if you use them in conjunction with coiling and wrapping and all the different things, it would do some crazy stuff. There was a site that he and I had like really kind of found independently and got really excited about. I'll have to go dig it up. Maybe there was a channel and they were doing like these worldwide releases of this technology kind of thing. Starting to ring bells. I'll find it.
I really like that
Shout out,
connection
Tommy.
between.
I'm sorry, Tommy found the link. Thank you, Tommy. I apologize there, Lucas. I stepped all over you. Go ahead, man.
Nah, that's all right. I really like the idea between this, like the magnetron, you know, those devices that use resonance in microwaves, and you know that link between them and how they were in the older cathedral buildings, and so I'm waiting for. There's got to be someone out there that's doing some free energy or cottoned onto that sort of harmonic type thing to playing around with it.
Have you started in on the Nord video yet? Just wondering, because dude, there's some crazy little. Like I just got to something this morning as I was catching into some of it by myself, and it was definitely. Man, I don't want to spoil anything now. Just go watch it. Definitely soon. That first couple of hours are definitely going to break your brain with the idea of this energy grid we live upon.
30 seconds before we hit that last commercial break for the morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did we do that? When we come back from that commercial break, we may have another little commercial break that we'll have to experience. I'm looking at you, that flat fellow. Anyway, we'll see what happens.
Oh, it's good. I want to see it done live.
That's the thing. I want to watch it. It's hard to just play it as audio. I want to share the video with you guys here on the radio, so we'll have to.
The audio is good though too.
It's good enough? Okay, that's cool. Because I was just kind of watching at it and could see that it definitely needed to be seen. Hey, this is the Ironworx. I'll shut up and we'll pay some bills.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. By Christine, great for heart palpitations. By Anne, before I started using this product, every afternoon, my ankles and my hands would be swollen. That doesn't happen anymore. So if that part of their advertising is true, I have to assume that the rest of it is also. Not to mention that when I had my yearly blood test, only a few weeks after beginning to use this product, my cholesterol had dropped over 30 points. I'm going to continue to take it. By Croc, I love this product. It really works. By Brad, works great, thank you. Tell us your story. Get your Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Hey folks, guess what the number one phrase that Life Change Tea receives by email? You ready? We love this tea. We love this tea. Time after time, week after week, we love this tea. Life Change Tea gives you more energy, a beautiful cleansing, and fulfills its slogan perfectly. The tea that makes you go. So if you want to be on your health game, log on to getthetea.com and order Life Change Super Strength Tea. Packages come in a 1-month supply, and when you brew this stuff, wait until you see the results. Aren't we all about the results? And with a lot of people's health struggling, we can use a little bit of help. Doctors will tell you disease starts in the gut. So log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Be our next email saying, I love this tea. I mean, I love this tea. Get the tea at getthetea.com. Helping America one tea bag at a time.
Hey everyone, it's Mark Sargent from Strange World, broadcasting live every Tuesday evening, 10 to 12 Eastern, 7 to 9 Pacific, right here on True Frequency Radio. Strange World covers a wide range of topics, from enclosed world theory to lunar waves to the end of the world in film. It's basically doomsday with a silver lining. With the audience as my co-host, we take an optimistic approach to all things conspiracy and promote confidence, hope, and humor whenever possible. If there's a topic you want us to cover or a guest you would like to see interviewed, please email me at msargent23@comcast.net. So please join me and tell your friends about Truth Frequency Radio, the leader in real radio programming, bringing you quality, cutting-edge broadcasts from around the world.
You're listening to the Truth Frequency Radio Network.
No hate, no hype, no fear.
Here's a message of importance to millions of people who are continually pale and washed out, weak and run down. Doctors will tell you that these conditions are often caused by a deficiency of iron. The iron you need to keep you physically fit and mentally alert. Medical studies show that 2 out of 3 women and many men lack the daily iron your body requires, in a form your body can easily use and put to work. Every dose gives you more than your daily minimum iron requirement.
We are the way. We are the way. We are not alone. We are striving for more.
So if you're not getting the iron your body needs,
We are the way.
if you feel weak, run down, and are easily upset, start taking iron today.
A little-known fact about Elvis. Later in his life, he searched for truth and found it. He wrote some of the greatest songs of our generation. Now they can be yours in one epic collection. Imagine owning the world's greatest truth songs by the king of rock and roll in a once-in-a-lifetime collection.
Don't be a fool. The blues here ain't true.
Don't be a fool.
Don't be a fool. It don't make you cool.
Flat Life Music presents Flat Earth Elvis. 20 beautiful songs by your favorite artists.
You ain't nothing but a round ball.
Round ball.
Spinning all the time. You ain't nothing but a glow star. Falling all the time. Where are you? Well, it's a one full of money.
Blue water ball.
Three to go, Schiller now. Go, get go, but don't you
Bridge over level water.
blue water ball. Are you gonna know what to think? Well, they all fly blue.
Flatty Bear. Ball Shook Up, and many, many more. Get the ultimate Flat Earth Elvis collection for just $9.99. Flat Earth Elvis's greatest hits is not sold in stores. Call now. Sane, rational people are standing by. Flat Life Music is not responsible for you waking up or realizing you're surrounded by NPCs, ostracizing you from your friends and family, and changing your life and disrupting your sleep patterns.
And welcome back to the Ironworx right here.
That was freaking amazing.
That was really good.
All involved. Genius. Genius. Thank you very much.
Yeah, everybody, if you would like to meet Dr. Law in person, he will be at Flattoberfest in October, the 23rd and 24th in Spartanburg, South Carolina. You can get tickets at flatearthfestivals.com, and you might want to get them quick. I just saw in chat, Karen B said that they are almost already sold out.
I love that.
Is that not amazing? We're not even in July yet. We're not even to July, and it's almost sold out. So, yeah, like Dave said, people are waking up.
Oh,
People
man.
are waking up.
Okay. So, time to pull the plug if this is the one I'm going to go to. Well, shout out Karen B in chat. I just got back over there. See you there, sis. Nice. Very nice. Thank you, Tommy. And Dr. Law. Thank you as well. Sorry, I'm doing too many. I've got way too
And
many
if you
tabs open. Something's playing. Hang on.
if you can't afford it, maybe, or you can't get there, you're too far away, but you'd still like to, maybe wake up your friends and family. Some kind, do a part to share this with someone. This great revelation that you've been a part of. Go get the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app by Blue Water Bay. It's like #1 on Apple, #1 on the Play Store. It's a great gift to give to someone that, if you tell someone, oh, go look into Flat Earth, they're going to get 99.9% nonsense pointing them to the fact that Flat Earth is ridiculous. Well, for $2.99, you can give them this app. And all the questions they have, it's so easy to access and go through. It's all, a child could do it. Push of a button. You find it, questions. You hit it, and there's all the questions for you. What makes gravity? What about boats over the curve? What about this? What about that? All the questions are there for them, and it's links to the good stuff. Real videos made by people that are actually truth seekers and not those trying to hide the truth. Yeah, it's one of the greatest gifts or you can use it yourself if you don't have it for yourself yet. All the images that DITRH, Dave, uses while he's flat smacking people on his interviews, most of that stuff is right there. And it's very easy to access. Push of a button, boom, a bunch of pictures pop up.
All right, hold up, Zach. I have to clarify this. Karen B herself in chat is getting the edge off everybody's sudden panic that we were all in going, what? No, she said it's not almost sold out. However, the hotel rooms are filling up. So that could be an issue there in the area. That being said, I don't want to cause a panic because I was going, oh no, I have to figure this out now. Because I thought I had a minute to figure it out myself. Yeah, thank you, Karen. Thank you for that clarification. But yeah, I have a good feeling this will be the year. So
no, we could have just started a rumor.
Look at you guys, fake newsers, all. Look at you. No, I'm just And I know some guys who give away that app occasionally. Speaking of the app as well, trying to circle back around while we have Dave there in chat. We have a technical issue we need to work out with you, sir, but we can talk about it off the air for sure. For sure.
We're just not sure how to get the iOS app installed.
Man, the IO one is causing some issues for us. We're technically inept. That's where it all boils down to. Trust me, it's us, not them or you. But we need help. So reach out after the show if you have a minute. Of course, you're so busy, dude. You probably don't have 2 minutes to put together.
But yeah, great app. Get it for a friend or a family member. If you don't have it, you might just have a chance to win it here on this show.
That's right. Or if you do have it and have someone in your life whom you're currently flat smacking and having trouble getting through, you can just give this to them as a little gift, as a peace offering, and will help them maybe come to terms a little bit quicker.
Yeah, it's so hard to find anything now. It's not like it was back in the heyday 2015, 2016, where, you know, there was thousands of videos promoted that were being done by flat earthers daily. Maybe not thousands daily, but you were seeing, you know, if a flat earther put something out, it wasn't being censored. It was being promoted.
Which brings me to an interesting point that I kind of got off of, because that was where I was headed when I mentioned this the second time earlier. So the fact that the new video, which isn't, as I'm digging on his channel, even though Norb has re-uploaded it, mirrored it there on his channel, it comes from a channel called EWAR, EWAR. I'll link that up for you guys in chat as well. Looks like a 6 or 7 part series that channel has put together with this information.
It's up to like 14 now, I think. 14
Okay.
part. Yeah.
Well, definitely. And I see another link for another channel. So it looks like they're fighting with censorship as well and getting taken down and that kind of stuff. So between this channel and Norb's channel, you should be able to see the whole thing. But I have gotten very, what's the word? I don't know if lax is the word. I think comfortable. Comfortable in my knowledge, comfortable in this community, comfortable in the family I know and love that are out there. There's so many great people doing so much amazing fucking stuff now. I mean, like you said, it used to be, 1 or 2 people out there doing any info, and then it was everywhere, and then they hit it all. So it wasn't being recommended. In fact, what was being recommended in my feed was the bullshit videos. As soon as I would go look for a person whose channel I liked, say Dave, say anybody, watch a video. As soon as that video was over, I'd get fed a Vertasium or a freaking Science Today or one of the jackasses that are showing me why I'm an idiot, thinking that the lies are not true. Never get recommended the good stuff. I would get recommended like people I know, people I've watched in the last couple of weeks, but I haven't seen a Norb video in a year. When he was doing the healing tones, I think was the last time I checked his channel out. So the fact that he got recommended to me in my feed in the middle of a lot of GTA 5 videos, because I play and watch way too many videos on how to get weird colors on my cars, in the middle of a lot of music that I watch, guitarists learning stuff, learning riffs, learning different scales, those kind of videos. In the middle of all that, there was this new Norb video. So the fact that it got recommended to me against all their algorithms, against all their bullshit to keep that from happening is very intriguing. To me, anyway. But, I just don't get those kind of good things anymore.
Yeah, Dave was saying his EWAR, the 5-hour one, I think, that he put up, I think it's 1 through 7, has over 200,000 views.
Nice. Freaking A, dude.
So yeah, people are waking up. It's, the revolution's not going to be televised, folks. They're not going to come out and say, yeah, you got us, the Earth's flat.
Right.
It's not going to happen that way. This is grassroots. We just need to be, diligent. We have to keep at it. And I think, we've already won. It's already out. Can't put this genie back in the bottle. Now it's just trying to get, as many of these people that are stuck in that cognitive dissonance. Just, they refuse to see it because it's not, they don't want to be different. And I think that's the only reason. I mean, they're scared to be different. I guarantee there's millions more people that know the Earth is flat that don't talk about it than do. Even if someone brings it up to them, they'll probably say, I don't know. Because it's different, and they don't want to be different. They want to toe the line. Yeah, as soon as it turns, cool, it'll be Mount St. Helens eruption style. Instead of the river flowing down, it's going to be an explosion. And that's when we really need to be, diligent in trying to keep people calm. Because we know we all go through these stages when we find this out. And anger is one of those stages. And we don't need people going and trying to burn down NASA buildings and, torching physics labs. No, I want to use those buildings. Those are our buildings. We don't need to destroy them. Let's go run tests and learn by using all this stuff we paid for. So we don't need to destroy it. We just need to change management. That's it. So I'm just
that's
hoping
right,
that,
and that's what I get with the same thing when you're looking at all their science is like you just need to evaluate it, and put it back into the proper context. So cut whatever's rubbish out of their context and things like that they put in there, and you'll be able to supercharge all our sciences really, really quickly, because there's already been a lot of work being done. It's just put in the wrong context. That's all.
yeah, exactly. We don't, 100%
You don't need to
agree.
reinvent the wheel, is what I'm sort of getting at. You just need to, stop putting a
Take off
square
all the
wheel on your
little,
fucking on your
take
bike.
off all the little nubs that they've added to the outside of the wheel to make it roll less efficiently. We're
Yeah,
just gonna,
exactly.
scrape off the barnacles.
One of the biggest problems with that, I find, this is the biggest problem I've been having with trying to explain the electrochemical side of things, mainly the chemical side of things, is that our periodic table seems to be not described how it should be, or put in the right framework. And that's been, if we can sort that sort of elemental understanding out, I think we would be progressing in a really fast way. But I think that's one of the biggest hurdles that it's probably next on the agenda to figure out.
Yeah, I was speaking with Cami and Baldini on Baldini's channel, Unintended Consequences on YouTube. We did a show Saturday on frequencies and vibrations and things like that. And he shared this element chart this gentleman made way back in the day. And I think you'll find it fascinating, Lucas. It's I think
Is that the frequency one that's from Walter Russell? Is that the one that he was showing you?
I dropped it there right now. Let me see if I can share this with everybody in chat. Yeah, it's gonna.
Yeah, I've seen that a long time ago. There was another book that I was reading on sort of minerals and the genetic code. They had that same sort of layout of frequency and elements. There's. I'm not disregarding it at all. I think there's legitimacy to it, but just how frequency creates transmutation. If that's how, if that's that layout, then a change in frequency should change the element, and that's basically your transmutation. And so, I've yet to see something that actually shows that transmutation just via a frequency shift.
Well, I mean, isn't that what everything is, though? Is to change it from one thing to another would be change it, because everything has its own frequency. It's kind of like baking a cake. You can't just hit it with one frequency and expect it to change another element's frequency. You kind of have to mix the milk with the flour with this and that and put it in you have to have the right procedure to change it from one state to another. And interestingly enough, on that little chart, Mercury was between gold and lead, along with, I believe, thallium. But that just, for some reason, that is like a little itch in the back of my mind constantly. That on that chart, he had Mercury in between the gold and the lead. Almost like there's that Mercury is that compound that helps you get those two. I don't know. There's something there.
Well, mercury's like a strange element unto itself. It's similar to water. If you think of water in a different sort of level, in a sense, like if water had a frequency shift, and then it'd be basically there's mercury, sort of nearly the same properties and all these strange things about it, especially how it's able to amalgamate into itself. And this would be similar, would be salt amalgamating into the water.
Well, just the three states, frozen, steam, and liquid itself. I mean, those are frequency shifts that we can observe easily. So then take it, like you say, beyond that, take it past that, take it below and above that frequency. What would happen to it? Then we start to get into that phased water, and water's above, water's below. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Look, it's interesting to think about, but
kind of like when you're baking a cake. You can't put it on 800 degrees, and you can't
hurry
get
it up, right? Hurry up,
you can't get it on 100 degrees. You have to hit that frequency, just like the scales. You have to do it in harmony, or else it doesn't take place. That doesn't happen. You don't get that spark. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that definitely seems to be sort of like areas where things charge up and stay at a certain sort of. This would be how they describe, say, the lights working in a like those tube lights. Basically, it energizes the gases. They step up to a different sort of mode in their electron shell, and then drop down and release a photon, basically. So, and you're basically manipulating the energy state via electricity. But at the end of the day, I think charge has a lot more to do with it than, say, the specific frequency. But this is a difficult subject.
Yeah, and I think that the charge and the frequency probably go hand in hand. When you change one, you're going to change the other. It may be in a very subtle way sometimes, depending on how much you change it. But I think magnetism and electricity are one and the same beast. You can't have one without the other, and you can't affect one without affecting the other.
No, they're the same thing. They're just two sides of the same coin.
Yeah. But we could talk about this for hours and hours and hours easily.
We could, but unfortunately, we've only got a few minutes left.
Got a couple.
Yeah. I did find the great Baldini on my Skype list. So I dropped him a link there in Skype, Baldini, if you wanted to hop on for just a second. Again, we don't have a whole lot of time left in the show, but I know you've got a live stream coming up anyway. But we've got about 4 minutes, I suppose. If you wanted to run over there and snag it, it is there. Otherwise, we'll be back here on Friday, and you're always welcome. The door is always open. In fact, now that you've got that link, you're more than welcome to use that any given Friday or Tuesday.
Yeah, and big shout out to the great Baldini. He is officially now a new member of the Globebusters team.
Nice.
I hopped in.
There he is.
There he is for your 2-minute thing. And I love Lucas, the way Lucas's mind goes, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm just like sitting there going, I'm in a state of unsureness, if that's the word. But I'm not certain. I'm not making any firm decisions one way or the other. I've got my sort of tendencies, but yeah.
Okay. So Lucas, when you're talking about the periodic table, right? And your uncertainty about it. And I'm like, yeah, the parts where you're uncertain is that it's got to be discrete steps. I'm like, exactly. That's one of the big keys to it. It has to be discrete steps.
Yeah, Yeah, and the other thing that I noticed is when they're saying how they create, say, sodium metal and things like that, well, they're nearly always creating it through electrolysis.
Right.
Now, the problem with that is that you're always working with multiple elements at one point to, refine your end result out. So who's to say that those elements aren't actually being changed into a different state themselves, and so there's
I think
multiplicity
they are.
into one.
Yeah, I think they are, and this is one of the big problems, that I had when, and I sort of had described this in Saturday's episode, Unintended Consequences. Sort of how I came to it was when I kind of with the house of cards of the mainstream narrative began to really crumble, and I looked at this, and one of the things I've always loved is chemistry because, it's kind of predictable, right? It's fascinating. You can change, elemental states. I thought, why would they tell the truth about, lie about everything else and then tell the truth about that? It just doesn't seem, and there was always something about it seemed odd, but I think it is much better described using the ideas of frequency or energetic manifestation, right, into a material.
Shit. I'm not sure. It would seem that maybe I closed the wrong window. Let's try that. Jesus.
I love the way your mind works, man. I love it.
Thanks. Yeah.
Because like the exact spot that you go, yeah, but okay, so frequency, yeah, but see, that's the thing. It's not dynamic, right? And if you take a look at cymatics.
All right, man, hold up. You've jumped in and broken our brains, and now we've only got seconds to say thank you, friend. Please come back Friday.
Okay, I'll be back.
Yeah, come back and talk.
Dude, after that. Love you, Baldini. Thank you, friend.
Me too. I want to say
Love
real
y'all.
quick,
Thank y'all.
take a look at cymatics, watch them develop. It's discrete steps. It's not dynamic. That's what I want to say. Okay, take care, guys.
Thanks,
Love y'all.
Love y'all. Thank y'all in chat. Thank you, guys.
I love it.
It was good to be back. Missed y'all. Bye.
Missed you too, Walter. It's so great to have Baldini there in chat. Everybody, again, he's one of those been on my mind a whole lot lately. So give him an extra positive thought, healing vibes his way. In the meantime, have a great rest of your week. Be good, be well, we love you. Bye-bye.